Well, hello and good evening. Well, it's nighttime, so I did sleep, but I had to wake myself up because sometimes in the middle of the night I can't sleep all the way through. And then when it finally turns daylight, that's when I be wanting to lay down and get some sleep. I know that's backwards, but I don't know. That's the way my body works. So, in the midst of me also wanting to do vlog about my job and how I feel about the job since I've been working there. I'm gonna do a story time. Story time is a little bit humiliating, but I'm gonna tell it because I'm not in that. I'm not in that situation anymore. But I still think about it, and it pisses me off because when you have a man living with you and he started out having a job, but then he quit the job because of some reason. And so and the fact that he's living with me and he is seeing me go through things and he's not helping me. Okay, so one day, and this was when my daughter was very, very young. My daughter was around 7 years old. And one day I was low on food. Low on food. I had called and asked people in my family to lend me some money. One person told me they'll lend it to me tomorrow. The next person told me that they will lend me some money once they get off of work. So, but what had happened was me and him was sitting in the living room watching Maury. But then I decided to get up and go in the kitchen and try to cook something. And at the time, I only had like one pack of meat left, some flavored rice, and a canned good of green beans. And nothing else. And probably a jug of juice. The kind of jug of juice that they be selling at the corner store, convenient corner store. It was orange flavored. But then he come in the kitchen while I'm cooking. And he's like, wow, it ain't hardly no food here. I'm like, you stay here with me. I don't understand why you saying it like that. You know that I don't hardly have no food here. He was like, well, I'm about to go try to borrow some dollars from my partner who I work with. And because at the time, even though he didn't really have no job, he was going to this place called the labor pool or the labor hall, however you say it. So I just kept cooking. I ain't say nothing else because I was agitated. I was agitated at what was going on in the situation I was in, and I was agitated in him. I was agitated at him 100%. I was mad. And he gonna say, well, when I get back, I'm gonna have some change, and I'm gonna go to the store and make us some groceries. So By the time he had came back, I had just finished cooking. And that was an hour later. And he brings this sorry ass into the kitchen talking about, you done cooking? I'm like, yeah. And I just fried some pork chops. And so he go inside of the skillet and get himself a pork chop and start eating on it. I don't see no groceries, no money or nothing. But he's sitting next to me eating the pork chop like he was starving. And I said to him, I said, what happened to what you told me you were going to do when you left the house? He's like, I already had tried to ask my partner that I go to the labor pool job with to lend me some money. He said he didn't have nothing. So even though I probably wasn't supposed to get mad at him about that, I did. Because he made it seem like he was going to make it happen. And he was done eating the pork chop, and then he's gonna say, baby, this is no way to live. He's like, I be seeing you throwing away old food. And yeah, because sometimes along with the old grease that I would put in the freezer to freeze it up so I could throw it away. Sometimes I throw away some bread that was probably old and whatever, and looked it like it had mold on it. He's like, you know, if you stop throwing away so much food, y'all will have food here. He's like, I don't know what you gonna do, but you gonna have to do better as an adult and learn how to keep food in the house. First off, I got so mad. I pushed my food away while he was talking to me, and I looked at him. I said, let me tell you one motherfucking thing. You don't tell me that I would do better as a parent. You would do better as a man if you wouldn't go out pretending like you looking for jobs and you come back to the house when it get nighttime drunk and beat up, and you got a black eye, busted lip, and just, I don't know what you be doing out and about. Then you come back to the house and sit around me talking about you feel sick because you've been drinking a lot. I'm like, you the man, so why you won't go out and hustle to get me some money to put some groceries in the motherfucking house? Why is you talking to me like that and you staying with me in my shit? You laying in my bed every night. You using my bathroom, using my tissue to wipe your stinking ass. You in my house. So just because you see me low on food, I have family to help me. It won't be like this forever. And then when I get food in the house, you're gonna be wondering how I got help. He's like, well, don't get mad at me because you have an attitude, because you mad because you don't hardly have no food here. I'm like, you can pack your shit and leave if you want to and go over there with your sister at. If you hungry and you agitated because it ain't nothing here to eat, bye. He was like, you know what? I'm just about to get in my car and take a drive. And by the time I get back, maybe you be done cooled off. I'm like, don't even come back. He's like, oh, you really mean that? I'm like, yeah, I mean it. Just don't come back. So, he shakes his head at me, and then he gets his ass up, get the backpack that he grabbed his backpack that I had found, that he always used to take with him when he would go in his car. And I had found a condom in the motherfucking backpack one day and confronted him about it. And he went off on me, but before he went off on me, he's like, I put the condom in the bag to see if you was paying attention, to see if you really fuck with me like that, if you really want to be in a relationship with me. I'm like, you don't make no fucking sense. You sound dumb as fuck. I'm trying to figure out why you have this condom in the bag, and me and you don't use condoms because we are in a fucking relationship exclusively. When we got into it, I made him leave the house, but that's another story time. I think I told that story time last year. That situation was a mess because he kept lying. But yeah, I told him, don't even come back. He's like, you really mean it? I'm like, yeah, I mean it. Bye. He left. I went to go pick my daughter up from school. Back when I got back to the house, he texted me a long ass paragraph. And he's like, why are you trying to make me feel like I ain't a man? I told you my partner said he wasn't gonna lend me the money right now, and you taking it out on me because of that, what you going through, and it ain't my fault. And if you want to break up, and if you want me out of the house, then I'll leave. I'm like, I texted back. I said, quit texting me this dumb shit. I don't give a fuck about none of this that you saying to me, because you sat right next to me talking about this ain't no way to live. And like I said, he's supposed to be the man. You see me going through that, and then all he can do is lie to my face like he was gonna help me. Then he come back and he eat on the pork chops that I cooked, which was the last meal in the house. Just FYI, my daughter and I had already ate before he came in the house and started eating on the pork chop. But it's just the fact of the matter that he's the man. He was supposed to go out and find a way to help me. He didn't go out and do shit. He gonna come back puffing on a cigarette. So I'm thinking that same day he did not come back to the house. And I was glad he didn't, because I had locked all 3 of my locks on my door. And then I had texted him and I told him, you can move the rest of your shit out of my house when you come back tomorrow, which was the next day. And he texted back. He's like, okay, you don't want me no more, I'll leave. And some dumb shit he said, because he just really pissed me off. Because like, it's one thing that he's a coward as a man, that he's always getting his ass whooped and he's scared of another man, even men who have disrespected me. But it's another thing when he's supposed to be the man, supposed to be the head of the household, and he see and that I was going through that. And the only thing that he could say was, this ain't no way to live. Baby, this ain't no way to live. You're going to have to do better. And so, he came back the next day in the morning time. And by that time, my family had already lent me like $80, and I went to the store and bought some groceries. And then he come in the house and he's saying, looking at me saying, oh, you don't love me no more, you still want me to leave? I'm like, yeah, I still want you to leave. He's like, I still don't understand why you're mad at me because of this situation. I'm like, you need to just go. You need to just go because you're a disappointment as a man. Because you live here too. You eat here too. And you act like you don't understand why I was in this situation. And you did nothing to help. So he's like, I'm just gonna go. Before he left, he's like, can I have a bottle of water before I go? I'm like, get you a bottle of water and give me my house key and go. He go in the kitchen, look in the refrigerator and get a bottle of water. He's like, how did you get groceries that fast? Yesterday you didn't have nothing. I'm like, don't worry about it. Because I got family that love me and looks out for me. Other than the fact that you my man and you supposed to have did something to help me and you didn't. All you did was criticize me. He's like, okay, I'm not about to argue with you. He's like, I'm going to give you time to cool off and I'm going to come back later on. I'm like, no, you're not. He's like, what you mean? I said to him, when I'm telling you to get your shit and leave, I will tell you when you can come back to my house. You don't tell me you coming back later. He was like, but I live here too. I'm like, no, you don't. You're not even on my lease. The only reason why you are here is because I let you be here because your niece kicked you out before she moved. He was like, okay then. So he packing this trash bag full of his clothes and shoes and shit. Looking back at me. Crazy. Leave out of my door. Before he leave out of my door, he gonna say, just always remember I love you. I didn't say nothing. I'm like, give me my key so I can lock my door. And he left, and that was the end of it. I think shortly, I'm gonna say a month later, we got back together. But it was like, I'm trying to prove a point. My thing is, that is why, another reason why I cheated on him. Once he got out of prison, because like, I always think about that. And how he saw that I was going through that and he was not helping me. And then another thing was that he had disrespected me. He gets arrested. He gets pulled over and arrested. And when he got arrested, before they sent him off to prison, he had a female in the car with him. And the female had been in the car with him all during the night until 6 a.m. in the morning. And I asked him all that time that this female was in the car with you, what was y'all doing? He was like, they was just talking. I'm like, if you expect me to believe that, you crazier than you look. But what I'm saying is, like, at the time when he saw me going through that and I'm low on food and I have a child, and it's like he could have did something to help. Not to mention at the time he was getting food stamps through the government. But he had told me that he had sold his food stamps to his relatives. So I was even more pissed off at him, and I just felt like he wasn't a man. And he saw me going through that, and instead of him helping me, he wanted to tell me this ain't no way to live, and I need to be a better adult and learn how to fend for myself in these situations. I'm like, your motherfucking ass live here with me. Why you ain't help me though? But I'm about to end this video, and that story just brought back a bunch of memories, and I'm mad all over again. But until then, y'all stay blessed.